Hi, everybody, and welcome to Squadcast Movie Podcast number 2. We made it to episode 2. Holy shit, we did it. Um, I am Danny. We're here with Josh and Latrell and a new member who was not here last week. Say hello, Alex.
Hello, how's everyone doing?
Good.
Okay.
Doing good.
Well, I guess we should do the same thing. No, okay. Alex is a dad, and he watches movies sometimes. That's his relationship with movies. Is that good enough, Alex?
He
Yeah.
watches a lot of movies.
Well, I watch more TV shows than I do movies, but
Okay, he's our
watch
TV
a
show
fair
guy.
Something like
Okay, well, we'll just get right into it then, huh?
Let's
We
do it.
have 2 movies, and one of them is relatively new. I think it came out in theaters like 10 days ago, maybe. It is Marvel's Thunderbolts, or I guess now it's also called the New Avengers. I don't know.
Spoilers.
That should be, yeah, I guess it's a spoiler. They decided to kind of
No, they
spoil
did
it
that on their own.
themselves, like 2 days into it being live.
They said didn't see it opening weekend. Fuck you.
Can somebody other than me give a synopsis for this? Because I'm terrible at these.
Go for it, Josh.
All right, I like doing synopsises. So this story picks up on Yelena. I don't remember how to say their last name or their last name at all. Anyway,
Romanoff?
is it Roman?
Isn't it
I think it was
Romanoff?
something else. I think
yes,
so.
Romanoff.
Yelena Romanoff, and she is a merc for hire at this point. This is post her sister dying, and she's working for Valentina Allegra da Fontaine, and not really a great person. But she gets into some mishaps and has a good conversation with her father and wants to go on a straighter route. This leads her to one final mission with Valentina, and that's where our story picks up, and eventually runs into other mercenaries who have also been disgraced. And I'll leave it there.
Everything kind of spirals out of control from there, I would say.
Yeah.
But it ultimately leads to an unlikely combination of, I guess, misfit heroes. I mean, who do we got in there? Obviously, we got Yelena. We got the whatever the captain, the Walker, U.S. agent.
U.S. agent. I was gonna say U.S. agent.
U.S. agent. We got Ghost. We had Taskmaster for like 2 minutes. I don't know what the fuck that was about. Anyway, and eventually,
Guardian.
yes, Red Guardian. Yeah, you know, he was interesting, and also Bucky, or Winter Soldier, came back after trying and failing to be a politician, I guess.
Congressman Barnes.
Alex, you saw the newest Captain America movie.
Yeah.
So I have one. Was Bucky was he a congressman in that one, or was he not even in that one? Or
Yeah, no, that's that movie kind of reintroduces Bucky Barnes back into the storyline as a congressman.
okay,
He kind of shows up a little bit more towards the latter half of the movie, after Red Hulk has been taken care of
okay,
to a degree.
all right. He probably had my favorite part of the movie when they were on the road. I guess we should just say spoiler review, right? Because screw it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you can't talk about the movie without spoiling it, pretty much.
I know.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Latrell, you snuck a Thunderbolts viewing in on like a Sunday night, didn't you?
Yeah. Yes, last Sunday.
How did you like the movie?
Well, I mean, we know what my stance is on Marvel movies. How
did you like this movie?
I don't think there's been a single Marvel movie that's come out that I disliked. And I think that's just for the love of the game. To be honest with you. I mean, I'm not allowed to give my rating for this movie yet, so I have to wait to the end for that, but...
Okay, well, tell me what you liked about it. Did you have a favorite character, a favorite scene? I don't know. something about how it was.
I mean, it's a peak movie, okay? It's peak movie, peak MCU. I honestly found it better than some of the old Marvel movies. It's got a good story, screenplay and pacing along, with some of the emotional, baggage like that works well. It's just a really good movie. I would be willing to say that Marvel is back. I think a lot of people after Endgame really thought that Marvel was, I mean, I know some of you guys did. I think they thought that Marvel was done for. And then they came out with this. They put their heart and soul into it, and I will give my rating at the end of the movie, but I think we know what that's gonna be.
Okay.
Speaking about like how you said they put their heart and soul into it. I don't know if any of you saw, but Bob Iger came out and was like, he basically said we're trying to with the Thunderbolts. It was like a top down approach in the company of focus on the story. Don't focus on just pumping out movie after movie. Like let's actually get down to brass tacks and make something of quality. And I feel like you said, Latrell, it kind of showed a little bit more in this movie.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Okay, yeah, you go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I'll say I agree with that. It really felt like they gave more attention to the story this time. It felt like they put a lot of effort into actually telling a tale, and I felt we could see the hero's journey actually in action here. The classic storytelling tool that they use, and it focused around Yelena, and I really and I think this movie made me enjoy a lot of those characters a lot more. Like I hated Agent Shield, or it's not Agent Shield, U.S.
U.S.
Agent.
agent.
Yeah, I keep messing up. I hated him. I hated John Walker. But after this movie, I like him. I do like him. I think he's still an asshole, but I like him.
It's all right. I what's that guy's name? That guy's name isn't that Kurt Russell's kid? Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mind his character. I don't know. I've seen him in a few things now, and I don't know. I can't stand his acting sometimes. Sometimes maybe it's just he feels too Chad-ish to me. I don't know.
But I
But
feel like I feel
what?
like the U.S. Asian character is really hard to play. I mean, when you take a step back and
Yes,
look
of
at the
course.
character, it's a character where everybody has grown to hate you because of past things, and like there's absolutely zero trust. So his character has to kind of play a role of I'm going to do whatever the heck I'm going to want to do, and however I get to doing that, it's just going to be what it is, and so it kind of gives off of a cocky but
Well,
Well,
and
I guess
I
annoyed
like his
character.
shift too. His shift from in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was, I'm trying to justify myself as being the new Captain America. Please respect me and getting clowned by the Dora Milaje. I think that's her name. And in this movie, he's like, I don't give a fuck anymore. No one likes me. I'm here to do a job. I'm gonna do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, after all that shit that happened, what the fuck else can he do, right?
Yeah. Right. And then we find out later that his wife and kid left him, so he really has nothing to lose. He's got a chip on him, a bigger chip on his shoulder.
Yes, Wyatt Russell was in a Black Mirror episode.
He was in game test or test. Yeah, one of.
I want
remember
to
that.
watch that again. Maybe just
You talking
see
about
if there's
the playtest episode?
Play test.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, the
I
one where they put
remember
the
it.
little
Thing on the side of
sensor
your
on
head.
the temple and they
I'm
go
gonna
into the
watch
game.
that again, and I want to watch 22 Jump Street again. See if there's something I might like him better in. I don't know, because it's not always the actor. Sometimes the director isn't like great at directing an actor, and they don't always get them to get across what like I think they want to. I mean, because I don't know. I think they could have leaned more into that kind of character role for him. I kind of felt like in the second half of the film, and that's another thing I want to get into, was more all about this, I guess, villain of the movie, which was Bob or Sentry, which
Wait,
I guess we
what's the
should
villain?
get into. we should get into that before I talk more about what I didn't like. What did you guys think of Sentry?
Well, I really thought of them as three separate characters. We have Bob, Sentry, and then Void. I did not think of them all as one. We see Sentry for like maybe 4 minutes. We see Bob longer, and then we see Void probably second longest, I'd say. And I enjoyed the character of Bob. Fun, has a messed up past, drug addict, went on that cliche trip to Southeast Asia to try and fix his life. Ended up becoming the most OP being in that universe by chance.
Yeah.
And then eventually becoming Sentry in like this god complex, and he realizes he doesn't need anyone, and just making little to no work out of the new Avengers, and then getting killed.
I didn't even look up who directed
Doesn't
and wrote this movie.
Sentry gives me
Jake
mad,
Schreier?
like just Sentry, pure Sentry. We're not talking about the Void or Bob. Just Sentry gives me what's his Homelander vibes.
He did remind me of Homelander.
Big time Homelander vibes. Yeah, down to the hair, the eyes, the glare.
Yeah.
That's just fucking that's just MCU Homelander. Like honestly.
That was my first thought when he became Sentry. I was like, this is a lot like Homelander, except he didn't kill anyone.
Yeah, he's nicer, isn't he?
Yes, much.
Isn't he technically supposed to be like one of the strongest Marvel comic characters?
He is one of the strongest.
I mean, I think that's interesting. I mean, it's obviously. I mean, obviously they're setting up for the Doctor Doom series and stuff like that. But
yeah, I got annoyed waiting for the credits to end for that. Can they just have like one post-credit scene and then be done? We really have to wait for the credits to be over. I just I want to go. I was like, man, I want to go home.
I'm done.
I was already, I don't know.
But I like that Bob basically, or Sentry is basically like a breaking case of an emergency. That's what his role is in the New Avengers. And they just kind of keep him around. I'm assuming that's what his role is going to be when Doom shows up.
I wish we saw more of Sentry's powers, like actual powers that some of the comics have introduced. He has molecular manipulation. He has photokinesis. There's a lot more things that they didn't showcase that I hope they actually start.
Yeah, no, that's something I considered when I was trying to write notes on stuff like that. I didn't well, they might be saving that for another movie. Thing is, I've given them that kind of benefit of the doubt before and have been left disappointed, so I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna assume. I mean, obviously we got to see more of him. I mean, they were really just introducing him here. But I mean, then yeah, I don't know. That was kind of weird for a minute. Like, are we gonna see Void again? Because that was.
I assume as soon as Sentry enters, then Void also has the potential to enter too.
That was, I guess, in a way,
is that
my
fact?
least favorite thing about the movie was I thought the pacing was a little bit weird. They spent 40 minutes in that bunker. A good third of the movie was in that bunker. I was like, okay, are they gonna get out of here?
That could have been heavily reduced, and we could have seen more.
You say that, and I agree for the most part, but there is another part of me that while it was happening, thinking what if this was the whole movie? Them just trying to get out of this thing. That would be kind of cool. I don't know.
How do we get out of here?
And that's how they really, really unite, and they let the character build go on throughout that. I don't know. In a way, that would be kind of. I was thinking either do the whole movie, or cut that time by 20 minutes, because I don't know. I'm just looking at my notes here. I took some notes, and the first thing that I wrote wasn't really even a comment on the movie. It was Do you think what's his name? Winter Soldier, Bucky.
Bucky.
He's like a former vet, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know,
Well-
and a congressman. So he probably like visits, vets and stuff. Do you think they ever look at that arm he's got? And if one of them's like missing a limb, they'd be like, "Hey, man, can I get
It would be a solid.
can I get one of those?"
Do you think
Is that horrible to think about?
my headcanon is that if they could do that where the arm's functional to the point he could fight, you have to imagine that there's technologies to make
Yeah,
just a
that needs to
functional
be
arm for everyday
widely
arm.
that needs to be widely accessible.
Like Tony Stark must have done something, or the Wakandans must have made some sort of like Aldi or like
Yeah.
some cheap version of that.
That's how the world in Marvel should look now. Anyone that's an amputee has a metal functioning arm now.
Yeah,
That'd be-
and Bucky just happens to have the one that can slam someone across the room.
yeah, right. I may turn everybody into a freaking demon god.
No.
It's like somebody. You can imagine a fucked up world where people just start doing this, chopping their shit off on purpose, so that they can get.
I want an arm.
I want to be Darth fucking Vader.
Damn it.
Oh, I could have taken that so much worse, so much further down, but I'm not going to.
Thank you.
Like I said, my favorite scene was when Bucky came in on the motorcycle and took out those guys on the turret trucks. I do think some people probably should have been dead from a turret truck firing hundreds of rounds into their car, or at least they should have been immobilized. But nevertheless, the scene was really cool. It got a little giggle out of me after he took them out, and they were like, "Yeah!" and he threw another one of those things on their car, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And it's funny.
Also, did someone just kill them? Anyway.
Yeah, right. And that didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I guess it was just meant to immobilize them. But
I feel like my favorite scene was the like more towards the end when they're trying to rescue Bob in the Bob in the in the shadow realm, I'm gonna call it, I guess. And they're
yeah,
in the lab, and like the lab kind of goes like it's like never ending in a way, but it is actually ending. I don't know. Like as soon as everybody went into the shadow realm, it started getting very like what movie am I thinking of?
it was getting Inception.
Inception, yeah, like Inception, Interstellar wise, and that was
Yeah, that was
those
yeah.
really. I really have a lot of fun with those kinds of movies. That was my
weird.
favorite.
That was a little weird. Like what were they in? Like they were in his
They're in the void.
like mind. Like
Well,
I
they
don't
were-
understand where they were. Like
My
exactly.
interpretation
Yeah, it's a
was
void.
it was the void, and he created the void, but the void brought out the worst memories in anyone who.
And
was
they
in
were
it.
all in the same part of the void together.
They made it there somehow. I don't know how that works. I'm guessing.
I don't know how that works either. That was
I'm guessing
very
Bob has
confused.
to allow them to get there.
And then he started fighting the void, and then they made him stop, and then everything was okay again. Everything the black shadow stuff went away.
The power of friendship.
That was the movie.
But
Pretty
you gotta
much.
imagine just. You gotta think that the rent prices in New York have to be astronomically low in this universe. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to live there?
Fair enough.
New York sucks now.
The
New
Chitauri
York
invasion,
should be a wasteland at this point in the universe.
Endgame or Infinity War, the fucking Thanos showing up again, the Void devouring the entire city, among others. Just Spider-Man feeding up people, Daredevil. You know what I mean? Anyway, and go on.
I love Florence Pugh.
Oh yeah.
And I loved her since Midsummer, and everything I've seen her in, she's always great. And she does a Eastern European accent quite a bit better than Elizabeth Olsen did.
Forgot that she did one.
It's like not even close. It's like she actually, I don't know. She actually sounds like she could be Russian, whereas the other one did not.
This is totally
she's
off
very
topic.
clearly an American trying to put on an accent. Compared to
The Scarlet Witch lose her accent, but Yelena didn't.
what was that, Josh? I kind of lost you a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I said, how did the Scarlet Witch lose her accent, but not Yelena?
She never had really one anyway.
I guess so. Right?
Yeah, that was Infinity War was a very good movie that even I still say was pretty, I still, and that was one thing that about it that always bothered me. She like just doesn't have her accent in that movie. I don't know.
Where the hell did it go? Right
And
away?
the other thing is, weren't they living like her and Vision? Their first scene, they're in like some kind of European city, aren't they? It's not like she's losing it, or like she's around American people, so she's losing it. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Anyway.
That was just her giving up on that, I feel like. I don't know. Yeah, it was weird. Anyway, it was nice to hear someone who can keep it consistent. So she was pretty good at that. And I mean, I enjoy her character. She's not like over the top. She's not over the top with the Marvel humor, I don't think. And there was a little bit of it in this movie that at certain points made me kind of, shrug or cringe, I guess. But I always thought she was kind of funny, and a lot of people are annoyed with David Harbour's the Red Guardian character. I thought he was fine. I thought it was.
No, I thought he was fine too, and that like
He was.
I compare this to Thor: Love and Thunder in terms of like comedic timing or like comedic relief timing, and this is way like obviously it's going to be like a mile ahead, but they did it in like good spots. They actually used them in appropriate spots. I guess you could say Red Guardian provided that in a fun way.
Yes. No, for sure. It was it was a little bit funny when they were hiding out in that desert, and all of a sudden she sees the limo. And you don't even, I don't know, I know they had showed that he was like a driver. Had they shown that limo yet? Because I feel like when you first see it, you don't exactly know. Okay, well, I didn't, when I first saw it, know exactly that was him. So it made it better that the first way I know it's him is seeing her go, oh, God.
Yeah, it's in the driveway when she goes.
We're not here. We're not here.
We're not here.
I don't know. It's funny. It was good. And then you just hear him go, Yelena!
Yelena, it's your father.
Damn it.
That's so
good. Oh, that was good. I'm trying to think.
Any other thoughts on this one?
The dialogue was campy in some scenes. I guess I put that. I don't know. I thought it was really corny when they first met a little bit. I didn't really like Ghost in this movie. She kind of was just there.
I forgot they were there, to be honest.
They gave her a couple of lines to be funny, and that was about it. Oh, then she killed Taskmaster.
Yeah, just shot. And like, did you know her well? Like, I guess.
I still don't understand why they did that, because nobody was even asking about. I mean, I guess they didn't kill her in Black Widow, so.
I thought she did die in Black Widow. I was kind of a little confused.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know why they felt they needed to bring her in for that, but all right.
I feel like, well, here's my take on it, because I think what we have complained about and other people have complained about in Marvel movies is they leave so many loose ends anymore that Taskmaster surviving everything and her just walking off at the end of Black Widow is essentially leaving that loose end kind of just hanging out there. And I feel like they really didn't have anywhere else for her to go, and so this was like the only way that they could really like start actually tying out loose ends. And it was a stupid way to tie out a loose end, but
Got tied up.
man.
It eventually got
it's
tied
kind
up.
of like, yeah, it's like I think if they're gonna start
Whatever,
focusing
man.
on the quality, then you're gonna start seeing loose ends actually being tied out.
Okay. I guess it's just the thing I would have liked to see some. I mean, they were kind of doing backstories a little bit. They kind of did that with Walker and or U.S. agent, whatever his name is, and that felt like it tailed off at the end. And I feel like they could have done that with Ghost. I mean, her past was more fucked up than like anybody's. I mean.
Yeah, oh my god, really has to have
She
that suit on
literally
or she'll
isn't.
die.
She's not even like a fucking human
Oh.
at this point.
My wife even, I mean, I was telling my wife about the movie, and she couldn't even remember where the ghost was from. I was trying to explain it to her, and it was
Ant-Man.
like, just
Ant-Man
yeah, I was
and the
like, it's
Wasp.
Ant-Man, but it's just kind of like a one-off character that you really didn't see coming.
Everybody hates the Ant-Man movies, but I have a guilty pleasure for Paul Rudd because he's funny.
Well, the first one's good, but after that, it's
First
like,
one's good.
The first one's good. They all three of them make me laugh. All three of them are funny to me.
Yeah.
And mostly because of him. You could have Paul Rudd star in a movie and make it. He's funny to me just based on his delivery. So
he's good.
that keeps those up for me. And I don't know. I didn't hate Ant-Man and the Wasp as much as others do. I mean, I thought it was fine. And I thought Ghost was a decent enough villain. But I know those are her and the U.S. agent guy, in my opinion, were the least talented actors out of all of them. So I feel like that's part of why they got the least amount of screen time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I don't know. That's a pessimistic way to look at it, but it is kind of. One of my notes says, why would you tie him to your back? When did that happen? Did somebody tie somebody to the?
No, hold on. Why would you tie him to his back?
I don't remember. Was there like a
Hold
fight
on.
scene where she had a guy like back to back with it?
She tied Bob to his back.
I don't
Remember?
know. I don't.
No, she tied Bob to his back because she's like, I like just stay behind me. That was the whole thing.
Yes. I don't know. It just looked like it put her at a disadvantage.
It definitely did.
It worked out because.
And then he picked up a gun, which is funny.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. Well, the ending was kind of different for other movies. It wasn't even really a fight at the end. It was like something else, kind of.
coming together.
I don't know. So I didn't mind that. I'm curious there hasn't been more discussion about it because even that kind of felt like a different turn for them because it could have just been some kind of big
giant fight.
Yeah, I don't know. But it was kind of like her trying to get like underneath him a little bit.
It was pretty much her trying to like. Well, I saw the story in the movie most is like Yelena. We see Yelena going through her own personal battle, but through Bob. Like Bob is like the, I guess, vessel for this, and she realizes the wrong and that what she was doing and stomping things down, trying to get it away, and then it literally manifests itself in void. And she's like, "Oh shit! This is like a manifestation of what's happening in my life, except this has actual consequences."
Well, I think it's also just like it was more of a character building movie in the fact of like if you're actually wanting to become an Avenger or something that's like physically like or publicly appearing to be good, which is what she wanted and mentioned in the beginning of the movie, like you got to stop doing what all these characters were doing, like from the Red Guardian all the way to U.S. Agent. Like they were just putting themselves in a bad spot and doing the wrong things, and the wrong reasons, and it's kind of like you externally see something you externally see someone going down that route actively, and you reflect that upon yourselves, and it's like you realize you got to make some changes. And I mean, the Void definitely pulls that into the forefront as well for each character.
Yeah. And it forces them all kind of to face their issues. And that makes me wonder. I would have liked to see the rooms of the other people.
I know. That's what I guess that's what. There's so many thoughts that went into my head during this whole scene. To be honest, like so many things I wanted to know. Like, where does everybody else go? What's happening with everybody else? That was kind of it was kind of crazy. They had the little girl go first.
That was
like, oh
wild.
shit! It's like, whoa, hold up. It's like, oh, we're with this kind of movie. All right, let's go. I was kind of hyped. Maybe I don't know,
No, it was jarring.
but I knew she wasn't dead. I was like, the thing is, it was a Marvel movie, so I didn't really think that. I thought, okay, well, if that's happening to the little girl right away, that means whatever this is, it's not killing people. But I was still curious what the hell was going on, and then I feel like it especially makes you less worried when you see Yelena just walk right into it. She's like, all right, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, she's not even afraid of this. I I'm trying to talk about the effects of it, or how the effects looked during that scene. It looked cool. People just turning into shadows and going.
Literally getting voided. Well, I don't know if you guys caught this. I definitely made note of it. But when Yelena's first in that lab, we see the first two people who got voided.
What?
Did you guys not see that? That was like the first when she's in the lab to blow it up. You could see where Bob was, and there's literally two void shadows just sitting there. You'd have to rewatch it, but I remember seeing it.
Yeah, I'll have to check that the second time. That's interesting.
It was nutty. I was like, whoa.
I didn't really think much of like the, you know, I mean, it was pretty kind of standard directing. I guess there was one shot that I liked early on that was an over the head shot of her beating up a bunch of guys in the room.
I did enjoy that.
Yes, there was one point. God, I watched some video breaking down like a bunch of action scenes, and it kind of ruined me because now I cannot watch a scene of somebody beating up a bunch of guys without looking at everybody in the room, like in the shot. And what you find when you do that is a lot of guys standing there waiting to be hit. And this isn't just this movie; it is so many movies, like so many action movies that you kind of have to just like get over it. Yeah, I almost wish I didn't even watch this because like I was not thinking about that before, and now I am. But
I mean, you're right. They were just like some of them had guns, and they're just like, "Oh, I'm gonna let my friend go fight now."
yeah, I don't know. It's annoying sometimes, but I don't know. Well, at the same time, it allows me to appreciate certain shots more sometimes, so it's cool. I don't know. It works out. The South Korean old boy has like one of the most famous versions of the where it's not like that's like not an issue at all, like with guys standing still. They it's so perfectly shot and choreographed that it never feels that unrealistic like that. It's really good.
No, I'll have to catch some of the old boy. I can't say I've seen any of them. All right. Yeah.
I mean, there's the South Korean movie, and then there's a really, really awful American remake. We'll probably add the South Korean version to the list. That's a good one. But that's just maybe that's another reason why I have standard now because I saw that and now I kind of hold that standard for other. But well, Charlie, did you like the action? You're a big action guy.
I mean, as I stated at the beginning, yeah, I was it was a very exciting movie. I like big blockbusters, a lot of good action. You know, it's pretty much what you would expect from an MCU movie.
All right, let's give our ratings. Josh, go first.
I'll go first. I'll give it a solid 4.
Or,
Squadcast podcast thumbs up.
Alex.
I'll go to 4.
Litrizzle.
I give this 4 Squadcast podcast thumbs up out of 5.
Okay. Well, I gotta be the asshole then. I'm gonna give it a 3.
It's not bad.
I just I mostly liked it. Again, I liked the action. I liked the humor. I thought it was toned down a little bit, not enough, but a little bit, and that was nice. Like I said, I didn't really like the pacing. I didn't think there was anything like all that special about a lot of the filmmaking, except I guess the effects when people were voided looked cool. I love Florence Pugh. I love the Winter Soldier, and I don't really love anybody else. My opinion on the Sentry character is TBD, to be honest. But 3 out of 5. Squadcast, thumbs up, whatever.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Oh, now let's talk about a movie that's a little more in my wheelhouse, and I am very excited for this. We're talking about Inglorious Bastards today. That's our second movie, and I'm really excited about this because this is the first of probably many episodes where we talk about a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Tarantino.
And depend on who you talk to. It's probably, some might say this is his best one. I certainly put it in my top. It's in my top 3, personally. It is. I can do the synopsis for this one. This one's easy. And well, in a way, it is. It is written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, and I believe the year 2007. It was.
Isn't that old?
Yeah. It is a World War II alternate history film about 2 separate plots to assassinate Nazi leadership during World War II in Nazi-occupied France. One attempt is by a group of men, Jewish American soldiers, who are like kind of like their own special spec ops group, and the other is by a former Jewish enemy of the state named Shoshana, who runs a cinema, and that's hosting a big movie premiere for the Nazi regime, and she plans to burn it down while they're all in there. It's great.
Hitler in it.
With Hitler in it and a bunch of people. And I don't even know where I can start on this fucking movie. This is one of my favorite. Go ahead.
I mean, the opening scene is
one of the greats. One of the greatest of all time.
Like, what the holy shit. Just it sets off the tone so strong with the what the hell is his name?
Hans Landa.
I knew it was Hans. Okay, so Hans. It really sets up the villain that Hans Landa is going to be, where we know that there's Jewish people hiding in the cellar of this man's house, and they're playing a game of mental chess there, and then he lights up the floorboard. He finds out they're there and just lights it up, and that leads us to, I think that's Shoshana that runs out, right?
Yes, Shoshana. Her name's Shoshana. She's the one that escapes. I don't know exactly how she escapes, why they don't drive after her, but I don't.
Yep.
I'm going to give more grace to this movie than others because there's way too much good to even really think about any bad for me personally.
But, I mean, that sets off the tone for the movie. It sets off the tone of the villain. And it just
Oh,
gives
for
us
sure.
motive for Shoshana. Why she's going to burn down this fucking theater. Besides the fact that they're Nazis, but her motivation.
Yeah. Well, I think the best thing that it does, yes, well, you kind of said it. It sets off the tone for the character, but not just the fact that he's so, like, obviously you already know he's evil because he's a Nazi commander, right? Like, so
How
like
evil?
yeah, and like what type of evil? Because he's like, he really just goes in there and sweet talks this man for a minute, and kind of just, it was a cool. So yes, he basically butters him up, and he's kind of just he just sits there and like gently negotiates with him, sort of. I mean, interesting something about Tarantino's choices when he makes movies. They almost feel like the greatest perfect accident because in a way you could think, well, this is a trademark of his. He likes to put in long extended scenes of dialogue into this, but like you can find that in a bunch of his movies, and this isn't, including ones that aren't about World War II, which is all of them except this one. But he does that in this scene, and it allows you to obviously establish that character and like the way he thinks and feels and stuff, and the way he tries to get from A to B in terms of what he's trying to do. In this case, trying to get this man to blow his cover, essentially.
Trying to snuff out the Jews in the basement.
But it works so well, almost right off the bat. You could tell from this scene that this is going to be like some kind of alternate history, because this isn't just. I think most German commanders would just walk in and start screaming, tear the place apart, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But this one's different.
They did too.
Um, sorry, Alex. What did you think of the opening scene?
I think the opening scene was really, really good. I mean I forget his name at the very beginning. Is it Marcel? I know.
Or the other guy, the guy who runs the house.
Yeah, I forget. I have the
I
cast
forgot
list
it.
up
I
and I
forget
can't
his
do it.
name too.
But I think he has really good acting, and then Hans
Yes.
Landa comes in, and between the two of them, they make like a really, really good dramatic scene that I did not see the floor shooting coming. It came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah.
But I'm actually gonna come out of left field here and say that aside from the opening scene, I did not like this movie.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay.
Like in my mind when I saw the opening scene, and I was thinking of like, okay, where, like, because I'll be honest, I had never seen Inglorious Bastards aside from watching it for this podcast, um, and I like seeing the opening scene. I was like, okay, we're gonna have a little bit of a story about Shoshana, and like in my mind as a viewer, I was like, okay, at the end, something's gonna happen to Hans by the hands of Shoshana.
Oh, it's the
Like
ending. You don't like the ending.
pretty much because it like the dragging out of the middle to the end, where there was not like, I didn't feel satisfied watching this movie because it was like nothing happens to Hans at the hands of Shoshana, and Shoshana ends up dying from an annoying love story that really was annoying to begin with, because it was just like
It wasn't really a love story. She was kind of just telling him to fuck off.
well, yeah, but it was like, I don't know, of a whole pursuit of a never gonna happen love story, to have the what I would call the main character Shoshana to die and not actually take out Hans, and having Hans being the only one left out there was just very annoying.
I guess I would.
That's just my take.
I guess I would. Okay, I would agree with that more. but the main thing was that she wasn't really. I don't even know how much she. I mean, yes, she did see him again in that one scene in the middle, which is another scene I really, really love, and I'll talk about in a minute. She sees him in the middle, but I think her main motivation is to take out German leadership, and she does do that. I mean, she burns down that thing with Nazis in it. I want to bring up that scene again. There's the scene in the middle where she sees Hans again, and there's he's like he's talking to her about the strudel, and you gotta wait for the cream.
Which
Yeah.
the freaking cream shots were unnecessary. Like there was something there that Tarantino was trying to like identify that just didn't hit. And I was just like, that was a waste.
I didn't think it was a waste. I don't know. I thought it was cool. I thought it was kind of just the whole. I don't know. I thought it kind of added to the tightness of that scene because you're kind of just sitting there and it's really tight up in the neck because you know that I mean you know who these two are and how close his soldiers' machine guns were to killing her before she escaped. And she's sitting. What I love about that scene is she's sitting there the whole time wondering if he has any idea who she is, and he never really like. You can't tell because in his performance is probably what helps us the most. He's just sitting there so like creepily the whole time, and you're just like, oh God, is he gonna? It's like a horror scene for me. I don't know. Even before that, actually, this is the only. I didn't really take a lot of notes, but before that, right before that happens, before he sits back down to talk to her about not letting her black boyfriend run the projector screens, before that even happens, they're all sitting at a table for a minute. Him and Goebbels and his translator. Okay, if you want to talk about unnecessary, the cutaway of them banging was a little bit unnecessary.
No.
But and that maybe not for Josh. But before as that happens, they're all clearing out, and he says, "Hold on, I want to talk to this, the cinema girl for a second." And he's speaking to them in German, and so she doesn't understand. She can't understand them. All she hears is him. All she hears is him stopping for a second with his hand on her shoulder and saying a few things back and forth to them in like a calm tone. And all they're showing during that whole time that's happening is her face, and it's like slowly zooming in on her face. And she just does such a good acting job, because she's like, you can tell she's really terrified right now, but she's not showing it because she can't show it because that's kind of going to give her away.
Yeah.
And this is all in the context of there's a Jew sitting at a Nazi table and they don't know who she is. But what if they do know who she is? What if they find out who she is? I don't know. There's some scenes that just like felt like a horror scene to me when you think of how scary.
Well, you know what scene was fucking great? The bear Jew scene. That's the greatest scene in this movie, hands down. Okay, I gotta put that out there right now. That shit is fucking hilarious.
I'm glad. I love that you brought that up, Chow. I love that you brought that up because that is, in fact, one of my favorite scenes in the movie. It is fucking hilarious. Yeah, hold on, Alex. What about that scene?
Uh-oh.
There's no way you didn't enjoy that part.
Bear Jew. Bear
Jew. The bear Jew.
Yeah. There's only one scene you should be thinking of when you think of bear Jew.
This is the one where they're surrounding like the three guys that are knelt down, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
He's sitting there having a conversation with them, and he's like, "Now, if you heard of Aldo the Apache, you got to know about the bear Jew."
Yeah, and Hugo Stiglitz.
Here's my thing then. I think the Inglorious Bastards could have been made into two different movies.
Oh.
Like, I think
it's kind of the point of merging them together.
Yeah, but I think like you could have had two really good movies if you had one that followed like a story of Shosanna and killing Hans, and then you had
you just wanted her to kill Hans. Is that that's what happened?
I think just hung up on.
Alex just really wanted her to kill Hans.
I needed. Well, okay, like if you like, I don't know. I could start going off, but
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
King.
I might push back a little bit, but I want you to go off. Go ahead.
I know you're saying that in the end, Shosanna ends up like killing a bunch of people and stuff like that, and it's like in
Yeah.
reality she actually doesn't, because she just like she dies, the screen and everything starts to burn, and then Lieutenant Aldo and his men end up shooting up the place and killing most people, and then by the time the fire actually reaches the patrons, the whole entire cinema blows up by Lieutenant Aldo's men. So it's like in the end, Shosanna did absolutely nothing to like actually take out these people. Did she kind of set up the
Hell
whole
no.
thing in a way? Sure. But the actual deaths were caused by Lieutenant Aldo and his men.
Okay.
Yeah, some people
mean-
probably got burned, you know?
Yeah, I mean to a degree, but it's like the end death wasn't even delivered by Shosanna and her activity.
I'm gonna call it a
like,
joint. I'm gonna call it a
no,
joint
like-
effort.
I think going back to like the Bear Jew and all of the scenes that were out there with the three guys kneeling down and one of them getting sent back, that was enjoyable. Like
He's gonna take that bat and he's gonna
I really-
beat your ass to death with it.
I would have loved to see more of like action out of Lieutenant Aldo and his like band of men.
Yeah, I guess there are lines, I don't know. There's things from this movie that I still say to myself to this day. See, well, like, we like our Nazis in uniform. That way you can spot them. Just like that. I don't know.
Like that.
That's funny, dude. And so they do the carving on the, and they also scout. I love that they're like an Apache resistance group. It's such a nice tie into like just. I mean, it's a big genre blend, like much of Quentin Tarantino's movies. It's obviously a little more focused. I mean, because it's hardwired in on its setting, but it's got. I mean, there's music in there from westerns. There's, I mean, they're an Apache resistance group. They also, it's kind of cool. I mean, in a way, there's a. Tarantino was originally trying to write something a little more like faithful to real history, and then what kind of made him give up on that was not knowing what to do with Hitler in this movie. And I think he said in like some interview, like something just kept screaming at me as I was trying to write this ending. Just fucking kill him. Just kill him. Who cares? Who cares if that's not how he died? This is how he dies in this movie. So, and after, I think once that happened, he kind of took the gloves off a little bit, took the kitty gloves off, and just did whatever he wanted, which kind of inspired, I think, what he did later with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But
I've not seen that one yet.
ooh, we'll add it to the
Surprisingly.
We'll add it to the list. I have only seen, weirdly enough, I have only seen it once. I haven't found myself rewatching it. I don't know. I gotta give it another. I need Alex to give this another watch because I can't stand the blasphemy I'm hearing in this podcast right now.
Hey,
you don't like it. You don't like it. You don't like it.
I know it's all right. I'm not actually upset. Okay.
He's crying.
Plus, it made the podcast interesting. So. Oh, okay. No, I need to talk about my favorite scene in the whole movie and my favorite scene in any Tarantino movie. And arguably, this is probably the reason that is in my top 3. And that is the scene with Michael Fassbender in the basement. In the basement bar. In the basement tavern. This is one of my favorite scenes because it does so much for me, the viewer, and so much, in my opinion, for the story. There is I don't know what it is about, maybe just the history of knowing what the Nazis did, but there is just something about a Gestapo officer that is just so chilling to me, so terrifying. They scare me. Seeing a Gestapo officer scares me. especially in any movie where you see them like searching for Jews or something, or
But they're on their shit.
yeah, they're just they're just some kind of special place in hell for those guys. They're just the scariest people, some of the scariest people to ever exist.
They
And
are.
so when I just go through so many emotions when I watch it, because they have the guy who's a little annoying at the table, and Michael Fassbender goes off on him, and all of a sudden he's like, your accent's weird. And in that moment, for a second, you're like, oh shit, did they just get caught? But like he tricks you for a second. He gets you all reassured, like, oh no, these guys will be like act like captains and just get mad at him and send him back to the table. And you're like, okay, that's fine. But then you hear, might I inquire? And you just see him slowly. They set it up perfectly with how it's directed, with having him walk to the opening of the tavern and take the needle off the record player. And then there's just a shot of him standing in the middle of the hallway. And he's just standing there with his black hat and the swastika armband, and you're just like, oh shit. It's like, oh no. Something about it just sends a chill down my spine every time. It's just like, oh, this is not good. There's a lot of discussion in Reddit boards as to how. So they do obviously he sees the three fingers, right? And right there he gives himself away. There's a lot of discussion as to whether or not, how early does he actually know?
When he actually knows?
Some people think he knows like right away, and he kind of just wants to like, or he's just really, really suspicious right away. So he just sits down with them until he can get something, and eventually they give him something. I don't know. But and it was another chance for Tarantino to pick in like some of his dialogue, and so he makes I don't know, I guess through these characters he makes a point about King Kong being a metaphor for the American chattel slavery, which is which is cool, interesting. It was cool.
It is an interesting comparison there.
It is. I don't know the guy who plays that Gestapo officer, but he does a great job too. I mean, he's just
putting the fear of God in you.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it is, because Tarantino used to run like a video store. I don't know how he is so good at just knowing what works and like what kind of people to. I don't know who does the casting for his movies, but they freaking get so many fucking just the perfect people for so many roles. I don't know how to do it. I can't even picture anybody else playing a Gestapo officer.
No. Who would want to?
Well, yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying in terms of how he looked and talked, he's just perfect. Kind of, I've always thought to myself, me and some friends should play that game sometime. I would put.
I thought you were gonna say that you wanted to be a Gestapo one day.
No. A game with a famous person's name on the forehead, and you try to guess what it is. I would write down a porn star's name for the person to my right. That'd be funny.
That's just diabolical. But what if somebody put like? Yeah, actually, no, I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about. There's a lot of terrible things you can.
Let me not get this banned on week 2. So I digress. Great movie. Great movie.
Great movie.
I enjoy and the only other note that I have written down is, so obviously that turns into a crazy shootout, and then what's his name? Brad Pitt's trying to come downstairs, and then he negotiates with the dad, or the guy that's the dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know. I like how he makes like a deal with them, and they let our girl out. We'll let you live. But he ends it with little Max can grow up playing catch with his daddy. I don't know. It's just something about Brad. Something about Brad Pitt just talking like a Tennessee American.
Oh my
It's
god! If we're
just
talking about people talking like other people, or dressing like them, we gotta add Tropic Thunder to the list.
yeah, that'll sure.
We gotta put that RDJ, good old black RDJ in there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. I'm more than that's it's one of the most underrated comedies of all time. So, I mean, if not, it's yeah. I'm more than happy with adding that to the list.
On the list. Yeah.
I'm okay. Okay, I just have a couple more things to say about this movie. Where I think we're getting to somewhat of a conclusion here, but I'm glad we've watched this movie because I figured the first couple of weeks, it's nice that our first week we did a Wes Anderson movie, and then this week we do a Tarantino movie. I mean, those are the two. When you think of modern auteurs, modern like guys whose movies are very distinctly theirs, their style. I mean, these are two that very specifically stand out. Wes Anderson even more than Tarantino. Tarantino, sure enough, has his own thing. So it was nice, and we'll probably see more. We'll probably talk about more movies, each of them. But I'm glad that we started with what we did because
Yeah, we had
this
some
is.
bangers here to start off.
I guess we can talk about the very ending really quick because. Yeah. Okay. Alex didn't like it, but I fucking loved it. Honestly, I guess maybe I felt this even more on the second or third watch, but that was I think that started off as a buzzkill for me that he was just, surrendering to them. Nowadays I kind of look at it as it just makes sense for his character because it was technically the smart everybody was going to die. He got himself out of that situation. So I mean, he was the only one that survived that whole ordeal in terms of the Nazis that were ending up in there. But they, even, even with all that being said, there is, you are kind of, you can almost tell the movie's ending, and you're like, man, is he really just gonna get away with all this? And then all of a sudden, what's his name? Brad Pitt just shoots the other guy. You're like, oh, okay, wait a minute. There's like, oh, okay, there's no way they were just gonna let this all just go nice and easy like that. And I found the very ending quite satisfying because they kind of brought it back to earlier when they marked survivors, and so they brought it back. So I'm asking you, got to take off that uniform. We don't like that.
We don't like that.
And they decide to actually show them carving it into his forehead, which is just very grueling every time you watch it. they show like the skin moving out of I love how he yells too. He like yells so hard that he like goes mute for a second, and then then it comes back. That was very realistic in a way.
Yeah, would you say that's satisfying, Alex, or no? Is that not enough?
The ending of the carving of the swastika.
They carved a fucking swastika in his fucking forehead, Alex.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That one, I thought it was pretty funny. But
I tell you, this one might be my masterpiece.
Really?
aside
Should we move to ratings then?
from that he was still alive.
The standout performance was Christoph Waltz, obviously, as Hans Landa. He won an Oscar for it, well deserved. And yeah, well, let's move on to our ratings. Alex, you go first.
Are we allowed to do like halves?
Yeah.
2.5 out of 5.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Okay. Josh?
I'll say 4.5.
Latrell?
I give it 4.5 Squadcast podcast thumbs up out of 5.
Yeah.
4.5. The only thing I take away from it, I guess I kind of agree with it, that the middle is a little bit slow in some parts. I never really find myself, I never really love any of the parts where what's his name's trying to talk to her about movies and stuff, and especially because she's just so like, I get why they're doing it, but always like, I even thought about fast forwarding through those scenes last night or whenever I watched this. But it's, I mean, it makes sense for what it was. And yeah, Alex, just some of the things that you would say you didn't like. I guess I can only say that I did like those things. I liked that it wasn't just as simple as, she comes back and kills the guy that did this. I like the twists and turns that it takes and keeps you on the edge of your seat instead of just, always, not being predictable all the time, I guess. But it was cool. I don't know. I'm glad we all watched this. I'm glad we talked about it. It was
Me
nice.
too.
It's definitely the first Tarantino movie, definitely not the last. And I don't know what we'll do next. Maybe the Kill Bill movies. I don't.
Ooh.
But well, I guess that wraps up the second ever Squadcast movie podcast, guys.
Well, yeah. Woo.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad we made it to week 2. We'll I don't know what I don't know exactly what we're our third episode yet, but we'll have to figure it out. Anyway,
Until next time.
anything else from anybody?
Thanks as always for hosting, Dan, and keeping the conversation going. Great job on week 2.
Thank you.
Have a good Squadcast podcast week.
Okay, see everybody in 2 weeks.
Peace.
Peace.